Good morning. And this morning I want to talk about yesterday's Nintendo Direct. I wasn't sure whether I was going to cover this because I wasn't feeling too well last night when it was on, so I ended up going to bed. So I actually sat down and watched it this morning. But there's quite a lot to talk about. But before we get into it, there's a couple of things that were notable by their absence. First off, there was literally no mention of Metroid. Now, that didn't surprise me in the least because, well, they've in effect rebooted the development of Metroid, so we're probably not going to hear anything about that for quite a long time. The other thing is we heard nothing about hardware either. Now, some people may have been expecting to hear something about hardware because there have been a lot of rumours lately about a Nintendo Switch Mini and a Nintendo Switch Pro. But Nintendo are doing Nintendo and playing everything very close to their chest, so we heard nothing about that. And frankly, I don't think we'll hear anything about that until they're ready to go with it, if at all. So maybe if they are going to release new hardware this year, we'll get a special Nintendo Direct later in the year that'll announce it. And then we can get all excited. The other thing that they didn't talk about, and again, this wasn't a surprise to me, was Nintendo DS. Nothing at all about the Nintendo DS, no games, certainly nothing about hardware, and we wouldn't have expected that at this stage. So, yeah, those were the things they didn't talk about. What they did talk about, though, was, well, a lot of games, and they zipped through it, as they usually do with these Nintendo Directs. They were very quick, to the point, didn't mess about. They did mess about with one of them in the past when they were talking about Super Smash Brothers last year, which got on my nerves a bit. But this one was, it's almost like they took stuff on board. This was zippy and to the point. And so I'm going to try and be the same. And I'm going to get through this as fast as I can. The first thing they talked about was Super Mario Maker 2. And we kind of knew that was coming. And it's coming in June. And I'm quite excited about that because I had the first one. Didn't play it a huge amount. But I did enjoy what I played of the game. Interesting to see how they handle this one because obviously they haven't got the touch screen when you're using it on the TV like you did with the Wii U. So it'd be interesting to see how they implement that. The second thing they talked about was Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and that's coming in the summer, and that's an exclusive. Doesn't really bother me, that one. I might give it a go, but it's not one that gets me excited really. And then we've got Box Boy, which is a puzzler, and that's going to have 2-player co-op, and that might be one that I look at. If it's not too expensive, that might be one that would be fun to play with my boy or even my partner. So that one's interests me a bit, but I'm not that excited. Then we got a couple of things about the spring update for Super Smash Brothers, and that's coming in April. And then another update for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. And that's going to include 2-player co-op for that, and some paid DLC is coming for that as well. Again, I'm not really that bothered about Captain Toad, so you know, if you're interested in that one, that might excite you. Then the next one we got was Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is coming this summer, and that's going to excite my friend Rich because he's a big fan of those games. And this is not Rich Review Tech either. I know he's a big fan of those games as well, but this is my mate Rich, who's a completely different Rich. He's an English guy, not an American guy who does tech news. Then we had Dragon Quest Builders 2, and that's another one that interests me because, I've got the first one, but I've not played it at all. I actually bought it for my boy, and he's not played it either, so that one's been sitting there waiting to be played. It's part of my pile of shame. But yeah, I'll be interested in the second one. I might give a go on the first one before the second one comes out. I would be interested in buying that. Then we got Dragon Quest. Oh, God. Dragon Quest Excessively Long Title 11. I think it was actually called Dragon Quest 11S Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. And if you can say that with your Grand's false teeth in, then I'll give you a medal. Again, that one doesn't really bother me. I'm not a great fan of I've never played the Dragon Quest games and they don't really interest me that much. But if you're a Dragon Quest fan, I'm sure you're very excited about that. Then we got Disney Tsum Tsum Festival, which is coming this year. And yeah, that doesn't interest me in the least. And then we got some stuff about a spring update for Starlink Battle for Atlas, and that's coming in April. Again, I'm not that bothered about that. I did toy with the idea of getting Battle for Atlas, and I might still get it at some point, but it's not really one that bothers me that much. And then they talked about a couple of other games. Rune Factor 4 Special, which is a remaster for the Switch, and that's coming this year. And they also talked about Rune Factory 5, which is in development. Now, I know nothing at all about the Rune Factory games, so if you know anything about those, let me know in the comments. Maybe you can interest me in it. But as it stands, I know nothing about them, and I'm not really interested. But like I say, you could change my mind. The next one they talked about was Oninaki. Now, this one does interest me. This is made by the guys who made I Am Satsuna, and I think it's published by Square. And after watching the Direct, I actually watched a longer video of the actual game itself, and that looks gorgeous. It's interesting to note, actually, that some of the graphics in it looked, for some reason, they reminded me a bit of Zelda. I don't know why, because it's a very different style of game. But it's a lovely looking game, absolutely gorgeous. And if the gameplay is as good as how it looks, then that will definitely be one to look for. Then they talked about Yoshi's Crafted World, and there's a demo available for that now. So if you're interested in that and you're not sure about it, go and check out the demo. And that's coming on March the 29th. And then following that, we had Fire Emblem 3 Houses. And that looks all right. I'm not a Fire Emblem fan either, so I can't really talk about that either. But that's coming on July 26th. It's one of those, if I saw cheap, I might, try it. But I'm not really bothered about that either. The next one was Tetris 99, which is a free game for those of us who are Nintendo Online members. So if you're a member of Nintendo Online, you can download that for free as of now. And I actually downloaded it this morning, haven't played it yet, but I will give it a go. I think it's online only, but I'm not absolutely sure because I was trying to work that out from the Direct. But I'll give that a go. And if anyone else likes Tetris, then give it a go. I mean, my partner quite likes Tetris, so she might give it a go. Then we got Dead by Daylight, which is coming this autumn on the Switch. Obviously, that's a game that's been out on other platforms for a while. So, I don't know, maybe you want it on the Switch. I don't know. Give it a go if that's what you're interested in. And then another game I've not heard of before. Maybe I've had my head in the sand or something, but it's Deltarune. I think that's how you pronounce it. And that's coming for free on the 28th of the 2nd this year. So that's the first chapter that you're going to get for free. Presumably, the next lot of chapters you'll have to pay for, but I don't know at this stage. They didn't give us any more information about that in the Direct, but they are developing more chapters. So again, you could look at this as a sort of demo. So on the 28th, you can go in and you can download that and you can play it. And if you like it, presumably go and buy the other chapters when they're released. The next one, and this one was exciting for me because I've been following this one for a while now and it looks really, really interesting. And that's Daemon X Machina. That's coming in the summer. And there's actually a demo out now with 4 missions and a boss battle. And they're also asking for feedback. And I think they're selecting some people for feedback. But they're also saying you can go and give feedback on, I think, their Facebook page or their website. I'm not exactly sure. But they want feedback. They're trying to develop it with the fans. And that's always a good thing. If that's what they're genuinely trying to do, then feedback will help them develop a better game where everyone's a winner. So I've downloaded that as well this morning. So I'll be giving that a go over the next few days and see how I get on with it. Hopefully it's going to be good. It looks really good. And it looks like a lot of fun. The next one they talked about was Grid Autosport, and this is a kind of proper racing game, a hardcore, if you like, racing game for the Switch. How they can do it with the Switch, because there's no analog triggers on the Switch, so acceleration, I'm not sure how you can do acceleration as well without analog triggers, but it's coming, and it looks good. It's part of the Grid series, and they've always been pretty decent games, so if you want a decent racing game for the Switch, keep your eyes open for that and look for the reviews because it looks like it might be good. The next thing though, and this is the thing that really got me interested and got me sitting up and taking notice, was Hellblade. Now, I don't know if you guys know the history of Hellblade, but Hellblade was first released on the PlayStation, and then Microsoft actually bought Ninja Theory, who make Hellblade, and Hellblade has now come on the Xbox, but they're now bringing it on the Switch. And I don't want to go too much into this now, but the fact that they're bringing Hellblade to the Switch while it's under Microsoft's umbrella is pretty exciting, because this plays into this whole thing of, Microsoft and Nintendo getting ever closer in their cooperation with each other. And maybe this is just a sign that that's already happening. And Hellblade, if you haven't played it and you've only got a Switch, buy the game. I've not finished the game because my save file got corrupted. I had some issues on the PlayStation, but I've played quite a way through the game, and I've played several parts of the game twice now. And it's a fantastic game. If you like serious games that cover serious issues but are extremely fun to play as well, this is a no-brainer. Don't let your kids play it though, because it's quite violent. And it does deal with these serious issues. So yeah, that really interested me. That I'm really interested. It'd be interesting to see if they release a physical copy as well, because we only got digital copies initially on the PlayStation and the Xbox, and you can get physical copies now. Be interested to see if they release a physical copy on the Switch, and I'd buy a physical copy of that on the Switch. The next one they talked about was Mortal Kombat 11. And that's a bloody miracle they're bringing that to the Switch at all, to be honest, because I wasn't even sure that the Switch would be able to handle it. But we've known about this for a while, but they're talking about it here. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 on the Switch. I don't know. Be interesting to see what they have to do and what compromises they have to make to get it on the Switch. But yeah, again, that's one. I like the Mortal Kombat games. I'm not a huge one for fighters. I'm not very good at them, but I do enjoy them. And Mortal Kombat is one of the series I enjoy. Then we've got EA's Unravel 2. That's been out on other platforms for a while, and that's coming to the Switch on March 22nd. This one's an odd one. Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation Remastered with all the DLC, and that's coming on May the 21st to the Switch, which is an odd one. But, if you like the Assassin's Creed games and you want to play it on the go, then it's coming to the Switch. Great, I suppose. Yeah, not much else I can say about that. Then we've got Final Fantasy VII coming to the Switch. That's on March 26th. Again, how on earth they've got that on the Switch, I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see how that works. The next one was something called Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon Everybody. And that's coming on March 20th. I know nothing about that, and frankly, I'm not really bothered. If you are bothered, fine, but don't kick me for not knowing anything about it. I just don't. And then there's Final Fantasy IX, which is out now apparently. And then another game which I thought looked fantastic, and this is coming from Platinum Games. It's coming on the 30th of August, I think it is, this year. And that's Astral Chain. And I watched the video of this a couple of times, and yeah, this looks fantastic. I think this is going to be a really fun game. I don't know, you guys may be excited for this, but I'd not actually heard about this before. So again, maybe I've had my head in the sand. Maybe you lot know all about it, but I hadn't heard anything about this before. And yeah, it looks good. I'll be looking out for this one. And then they mentioned Bayonetta 3, but that was it. Basically, they came on and said, yeah, we're not going to tell you anything about Bayonetta 3, so you'll have to wait for more information. And that was it. Then they talked about The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, which is a remake of the 1993 Game Boy game. So that's a 26-year-old game, but they've brought it up to date, and it looks, it looks more up to date. It looks more like a modern game, but it's obviously still in the same style. Those of you who follow my channel know that I'm not a huge Legend of Zelda fan. For me, my argument with it is it's kind of like a story-based game without a story. So it kind of... I've got a mate who's a massive Zelda fan, and he's tried to talk me into liking Zelda for years now, but I just don't get it. I'm sorry, I just don't get it. I've tried, but I just don't. It just doesn't grab me. And you know how it is. Some things you just don't like. If you don't like fish, you don't like fish. If you don't like Zelda, you don't like Zelda. And I'm not saying it's a bad game, it just doesn't grab me. And all the Zelda games just don't grab me. Sorry. And that was it. They were done. And I'm done. So let me know what you thought about this in the comments. I thought it was pretty decent. I like the way that Nintendo do this and they zip through it very fast. So yeah, it was interesting. But that's all I've got to say about it for now. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. And like and subscribe and hit the bell and all the rest of it. But that's me done. I will speak to you guys in the next one. Bye.